Hi everyone, Pastor Paul Beam here with you with today's daily devotion. And today I have something I want us to consider as we prepare to head back into the culture. Some things that I think for believers we need to consider, things that we need to remember as we come back and we begin to deal with one another and be with one another again. We're going to be looking in Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 and 2. Brothers, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in a spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted. Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. In Galatians chapter 5, Paul is encouraging believers to live out their faith, to live by their faith. And as he does so, he gives them several characteristics that they should consider and things that should be evident within their life, that their life should produce certain fruits: peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and several others that he mentions and lists there. And those characteristics are to be lived out, but not only to a watching world, but also to believers, that we are to show those characteristics to other believers. Paul says that we are to live by the Spirit and live by faith, and to live by those characteristics and produce those characteristics within our lives. All of us, as believers, are supposed to produce those. But there's a realization that it's not easy. And here in chapter 6, Paul gives an opportunity for us to recognize those who are struggling with those characteristics, living out our faith. It's not going to be easy. There's never a time that Jesus said, hey, the Christian life is an easy thing for you to live by. There's nothing in Scripture that says that. Living by faith is difficult. And we know that as we seek to live by faith, we have the enemy who seeks to come in and destroy things and tear things up within our lives. And so Paul is reminding believers here that whenever believers fall into struggle, when they fall into strife, when they fall into places of sin, that we who are spiritual, those of us who are seeking to live by the Spirit, we shouldn't shame them. We shouldn't hold things over them. We should encourage them. We should love them. They need a hand of that's going to reach down and help them, a hand of rescue to pull them out, to show them love, and to show them encouragement. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 14 and 15, Paul writes, "And we urge you, brothers, admonish the idle, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with them all. See that no one repays anyone evil for evil, but always seek to do good to one another and to everyone." I think this is a good reminder for us right now, because as we move back into the culture and begin to deal with one another's lives again, we're going to find places that are messy, places that sin exists, struggle and strife exists. And so as we move back into being a part of one another's lives, we have to remember to show that extra amount of mercy and grace, especially to those who are believers. The world is watching. The world is looking to see how we are going to react. After being in quarantine for so long and so many things that we've had to deal with at home and personally, maybe becoming overwhelmed, I know that there are people who are struggling. I know that there are people who are struggling in their marriages, believers who are struggling. They're struggling with their families and their children. They've fallen into the traps that Satan has let for them of seeing things and being a part of things that are ungodly and unholy. And so when those things come to light, as we come back together and people reveal their struggles, let us not be people. Let us not be a church that tries to push them away or tries to ridicule them, but simply seeks to show them the love of Jesus, to help them to be reconciled to Christ, to find the hope and help they need. We're to show love. Those characteristics, the fruit of the Spirit, is to be evident in the life of a believer, especially to those who are believers, who are struggling. This world is messy. Jesus didn't promise it any differently. We were going to struggle. He knew that we would struggle. But he called us to be one, unified under the Spirit and living by the Spirit. So just today, I want to encourage you to remember that. And maybe today, if you're struggling, maybe today, if you're facing things that are overwhelming, the burdens of life are on you and you are struggling through those things, don't sit there and hold all of that in. Give somebody a call. Reach out. Ask for help. We as the church, that's what we're here for, to love you, to encourage you, to help you grow closer to Christ, to move out of those areas where we're so consumed with sin in our life and moving closer to who Christ has called us to be. I want you to know I love you, and I know some of the struggles that many of you are having, and we're here for you. We love you, and as we move out of this time and back together as the church, we want to move forward because God has so much in store for us. So much in store for us individually, but also so much in store for us as a church, that we move forward loving, encouraging, and lifting those up who are struggling, bearing the burdens of one another so that we can point people to Jesus. I love you guys so much. I miss you. Can't wait for Sunday. Hope you're ready. God bless you. Don't forget, be the church.